Good hello and welcome to lesson number 6 in the 6 series introductory series of guitar lessons for right hand classical technique fingerstyle introductory lessons for people wanting to learn how to play the guitar with their right hand fingers and thumb as opposed to using a pick or plectrum, as I've said previously in the earlier lessons. Today we are going to round out the things that we've learnt in the first 5 lessons. We're going to add a couple of new notes and I'll give you a set of exercises that will build strength and dexterity and fluency in your right hand particularly, and some strength and mobility in your left hand for beginners. So far we've learnt how to use the right hand, how to position the right hand on the guitar, like so, with the thumb resting on the 6th string as its home position, and the fingers on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd strings as their home position, fingers swinging under the hand from the knuckles, thumb swinging down from ceiling to floor and circling, playing the different bass notes. And then we've added arpeggios, which are the notes of a chord separated, such as and then backwards, and then the notes of the chord as a block chord all together, and those notes being E minor as an open position chord, E, B, G. Notice we're not using the A string or the D string, they're not in the E minor chord. So that's the chord, and then some arpeggios. Last week we also introduced some variations on the right hand chords, so using the index and middle fingers to play the E minor chord with the thumb, index and middle, thumb, index and ring, P-I-A, thumb, middle and ring, P-M-A. And then mixing them up. So and that provides you with exercises to build dexterity and the ability to use different fingers on the right hand for different patterns at different times that you require to be able to play notes on different strings in harmony, which isn't possible with a pick for the majority of the time. With a pick you can play 2 notes at once as long as they're next to each other, or 3 maybe. You could also hold the pick between your thumb and your finger, which a lot of players do, and then use another finger to play another string further down, but that's quite fiddly, and it's not as robust and as flexible as using a strong right hand technique, classical technique, fingerstyle. Anyway, so they're the exercises that we've worked on, the block chords, the arpeggios, and the variations of the different patterns using the different combinations of right hand fingers. Then we also used, on the left hand, certain finger positions for the scale of C major. starting with the note C, first fret, second string, first finger. So fingers on the left hand, 1, 2, 3, and 4, corresponding to the first position of the guitar, frets 1, 2, 3, 4. So finger 1 behind fret 1 of string 2 is the note C. So we played C using the index finger on the right hand. Last week I explained that the way fingerstyle and classical primarily play scale passages or melodic passages is by using a walking method. So using the index, middle, alternating pattern to play a scale. So that would sound like this. Note on the right hand, the alternating between the fingers. And that is somewhat like when a pick player goes down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up to produce their speed, their ability to move through scales faster. Okay, today we're going to also add in a couple of extra notes. So on top of the notes that we learnt last week, being G, that's third fret, first string, G, F, first fret, open E, then D, second string, third fret, C, first fret, then B is the open string of the second, and then on the third string, second finger, second fret is A, and then open is G. So these are all the notes of the C major scale, the natural notes, no sharps or flats, and these are the positions for the first position of the guitar on the first three strings. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back down, alternating between the index and the middle. The next exercise we can do with that particular scale is to alternate between the index and the ring finger. So starting on the G, so alternating between index and ring. And then the last one is alternating between the middle and the ring finger, starting on the same note. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back down. So now we've got three different combinations: I, M, I, A, M, A, playing those scale passages. So that is the C major scale in the first position, using the first three strings. You note that we're not starting on the note C, because the way the guitar is structured, we would have to start down here to play the C major scale as a C major, perfect C major, like that. If we were to play C major in the next octave up, we'd have to go up to the fifth position. But for beginners, it's a little bit much to expect to move positions. So we'll keep it simple. We'll stay in the first position where you don't have to move your left hand and you can concentrate on your right hand combinations. And this is what we'll be calling the Mixolydian mode of the C major scale. I know it's a long word and it's hard to remember, but there are various modes based on which note you start on in the scale. So if we're starting on in C major, if we're starting on C, that's the Ionian mode, and that's the home mode. If we start on D, the second note of the C major scale, then that's the Dorian mode. And each note has its own mode. That's a long way around and a big explanation for a simple concept, which is that we're playing the C major scale starting on the note G. Simply to stay in the first position. And for our purposes, to learn how to play the scale using the combinations of the I, M, I, A, and M, A fingers on the right hand. I'd also like to express that it is very important to maintain your right hand position, remaining steady, no bouncing and moving around all over the place. Keep your right hand very still and move as much as you can simply just from the knuckle joints. The fingers moving under the hand like this, as I've stated many times previously, and the thumb going around the fingers as it plays and circles back like this. So a good exercise really is that block chord. So you can see the fingers swinging 45 degrees across the strings underneath the hand, the right hand, and the thumb circling around like so. I'd also encourage you to experiment with the things that we have learnt so far. So I gave you a few exercises like and so on. Experiment. Use different combinations and see what you can come up with. Now that you've got the extra notes on the third string, you could add the A there, for example. Using the same pattern on the right hand, I, M, A, M, I, M, A, M. And that's in the E minor chord. That chord there is the E minor. Add the A. And you get what would be something like an A minor chord with a ninth. So A minor 9. So you've got an E minor chord, and then an A minor 9. But experiment. Use the different notes that you've learnt so far and add different combinations to come up with something that you like doing yourself. So that one, for example, being the E minor, the A minor 9th, you might add the third fret of the second string, the D, and that would become almost like a D9. So there's all sorts of combinations and patterns that you can use with those notes and with those right hand exercises. I will leave it there for today's lesson, for the 6th lesson and the final lesson in this introductory series of right hand lessons for classical guitar technique or fingerstyle technique. If you've enjoyed this series and if you've learned something, please give me a like on the YouTube channel and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And if you'd like to leave any comments or suggestions, feel free to. I am going to offer a free group lesson for people who are interested in having a discussion and an online forum in the future at some point before I embark on the 2nd series of fingerstyle guitar lessons. But I'd like to get a feel for who is interested and how many people have watched and have learned something from the lessons that we've done so far. So please subscribe, like, and add comments and questions. I'll see you in the 2nd series and enjoy playing the guitar. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.